Thank you. Brenda Payne, Hunt Club Boulevard.
Thank you, Mayor and Board of Aldermen. I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak before you tonight. I live at 1595 Hunt Club Boulevard. That's Gallatin, Tennessee, but I pay Hendersonville City taxes, so I refer to that as Hallaton. I'm here tonight to talk about the Glenbrook development, but from a little different perspective than you've heard tonight. And I want to suggest to folks that there are always two and sometimes three or four different sides to any sort of story and opportunity that might exist. So I want to be here tonight to suggest to this Board of Mayor and Aldermen that there have been plans in place for a long time that have been a part of a master plan, and I want to remind you of the things that you already know about development in this city, what makes a city grow, what makes a city thrive. You know, there are several things that I learned over the number of years that I worked, not only with the Chamber, but also in development at the college and in working with this community over the last 25 years or so. And one of those things is that a community that is not growing is a community in decline. And so I believe that we as a community need to always look at growth in a way that is proper for us as a city. Now, I'm not suggesting just rampant growth, because I don't believe in that. I think we as a city and you as elected officials have the responsibility to look at quality growth. And so we as a city a few years ago developed a master plan. And that master plan identified what was going on over in the Glenbrook area. And it identified the kinds of developments that this one represents. So the opportunity for us to actually complete that master plan in the Glenbrook area is one of the real positives about this particular development. What it also does is it brings jobs to the area. And there are people in this community who need jobs, who need opportunities for that employment. It also creates a tax base. And guess what that tax base does for you? It creates that additional funding for the infrastructure that these other gentlemen have been so eloquently talking about. Because we as a city have been behind the curve in maintaining our infrastructure. But what I also know is happening is that this body, for the last several years, has been diligently looking at what we need to do to create that infrastructure and that foundation and funding for that. And in fact, we've seen you put much more money into that infrastructure budget than you had been able to do for several years prior to that. And so I recognize that you're already in the process of planning for that infrastructure that we need in that area. And I have every confidence in the world that you're going to continue to do that. But you can't do that if you don't have the tax base to make it happen. So I agree with Mr. Verbal. The fact of the matter is, we have a situation in this community where we have a lot of needs. We don't have as much money as we need, and so there may come a time when you want to take a look at those kinds of things. So I'll stand here with you, Mr. Verbal, and say maybe an unpopular thing as well. But regardless of that, I think we need to leave this decision to the folks who are sitting right up there on that dais, who have an understanding, a much better understanding of the needs that we have, the resources that we have, and the opportunities that are coming down the line. Because I will say again the same thing that I said when I started, and that is a community that is not growing is a community that is in decline.